Happy Monday, everybody. It is 8:01. It is time for us to launch our Mondays and get moving. Why do people hate Mondays so much? Can anyone tell me?
Because they're back to the same old thing. They're back to the
Same old thing?
loop.
I like that. Giovanni, same old thing. What do you have, Karen? What was yours?
Why people don't like Mondays?
Yeah.
Because they don't want to go to work, maybe?
Okay. Don't want to go to work, maybe? And Kristen, I know you had something to say.
Oh, I said because the weekend's over.
There we go. The weekend's over. I think people hate Mondays because they're not working towards something of value. I think people hate Mondays because they don't know that every day is a day for greatness. When you're working for a goal for you, it doesn't matter what day it is. You know, with those of you got your cameras on, thank you so much because I love to see your faces and head nods and handshakes and stuff like that. Raise your hand if it was hard for you to get up in the morning. Be honest with yourselves.
I'm a morning person.
You know who also is a morning person, Karen? People with shit to do.
Yeah.
That whole thing, morning person, afternoon person, evening person. No, I think it drives down to one simple fact is, are you living a life by design or are you just existing? People wake up and, like Giovanni said, the cycle. I wake up, I work, I pay bills, I sleep. Every now and then, maybe I'll save up some money to take a little vacation. The majority of the United States workforce in their negotiation has some vacation time. You know, I know Chris, you just retired from a long time industry. How many vacation days did you get a year?
5 weeks.
5 weeks of vacation. Doesn't that sound awesome? 5 weeks of vacation. Did you take all 5 weeks at once?
In 2022, I did when I went to Australia for 5 weeks, but no, normally only one.
Normally you couldn't because there was still demand of the business that required you to be there. Even though it's your vacation, very rarely can you take it when you wanted to. That is not working for yourself. But now in this endeavor, you guys are all business owners. Each and every one of you have the opportunity to live a life by design, meaning that you have what it takes to do whatever you want. And when you're working for you, getting up in the morning is not hard. When you're working for a purpose that is larger than just pay bills, eat, sleep, and die, it's a little easier to get up on Mondays and get to work. I am naturally this effervescent because of my goals and my dreams drive me to be a great morning person because I know more shit gets done in the morning than any time of the day. Because the moment I leave my house, time snipers can steal it away. The moment I wake up in the morning, work is happening. Life is happening. I can be pissed off that it's Monday and I go, oh man, the weekend's over. I would love to sit on the couch and watch Netflix for another 4 hours. No, I get excited, jazzed up to sit on this call with you guys. But I want you to realize if it's tough for you to get up in the morning, you are not in alignment with your goals. If you wake up and you're like, another day, then maybe you need to take a second and figure out what exactly is important to you. And from there, you can start making a plan of attack. So if you're struggling this morning, realign with your goals. If you don't have written goals, write them down. If you don't have long-term vision, that's okay. Write a goal for Friday. Write a goal for next week. Write a goal for today. My goal for today is to do what? That is how you're going to push yourself through the monotony of waking up on a Monday. Guys, I got this rant just because of my son. The other day, my son asked me, Daddy, what day is it? He didn't care. He's out of school. It's summer break. He's got no responsibility. He is living his best life. He is doing what he wants, when he wants, where he wants, with who he wants. To me, that is the definition of success. My kid is successful. But it was insightful for him to be like, Daddy, what day is it? And when I told him it was Thursday, he goes, oh, okay. Like it didn't matter. He just wanted to know what day it was. Because in his book, Thursday is a great day. Some people see Monday as a bad day, but I love Mondays because Mondays are the days most people shy away, and it's the most momentum I make. Because when everyone else is getting groggy in the morning and trying to get their feet moving underneath them, I'm already running. Are you running, or are you still trying to put your shoes on? I think that's the most important thing we can do. And this is the other rant on the Monday thing was just your morning wake up. Now you got Dan's rant coming. The most important thing we can do is provide perspective. The number one job of a real estate agent is providing perspective. And that's whatever your endeavor is. That's the perspective on the price, the interest rate, the opportunity, and the work to go into it. And sometimes providing perspective is as simple as adding some information that people didn't already have. If somebody's buying or selling a house, they're going to get some information, right? They're probably going to get some research first. They're going to dive into the internet. They're going to ask their friends. They're going to try to get a ton of information. You agree? Head nods if you agree. Your job is to provide that information. Now, let me ask you this. Raise a hand. If somebody's not ready to make a decision today, are you not going to give them that information? Go ahead, be bold. Tell me. I'm not going to help them out. I'm not going to give information if they're not ready today. So from the ones I see on the call, you're all willing to give information if they're not ready, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. There's a line I like to say in just about every conversation I have is, I want you to have the right information to make a well-informed decision. Well-informed decision, regardless where that's at. People tend to take an 18-month cycle to buy or sell a house. Did you know that? Very rarely is it a split decision or a quick decision or a off-the-cuff situation. People do research. And as a sales professional, if you are not willing to provide that research information, are you going to get the deal eventually? No. Let me tell you a little story. It happened to me Saturday morning. I know exactly what time it was because we had an appointment. 9 o'clock in the morning, I had a gentleman knocking on my door because I am putting solar on my house. So I've been taking meetings because I want to find out all the advantages and disadvantages of the different programs that are available, because I'm in a weird tax bracket where the simple shit doesn't work for me. The guy shows up. My wife is here. She's on a call. She's a speech therapist and has her own thing. He is reluctant to sit down with me because my wife will not be part of the conversation because the decision makers aren't here. I told them on the phone, I was like, I am the decision maker in this house. I do the research. I make the decision. The wife gives me a parameter. I work with inside of it. I'm a really good employee. She tells me what to do. I do it. But he wouldn't sit down and have that conversation with me. At 9:04, I tell him this is something we're planning to do here in a couple of months, maybe by December. Because as a typical consumer, I'm not going to tell him the exact time frame because, well, I don't know it. And he says, well, if you're going to wait until December, it doesn't make much sense for us to have the information because everything's going to change by then. Also, okay, so if you're unwilling to give me information to help me make a well-informed decision, then we can end this conversation and you can see yourself out. At 9:06, the gentleman was driving away, tail between his legs, defeated. And he had even bragged that he's been in this business for 9 years and he understands sales and people and helping out. But if I'm not going to make a decision until December, there's no point in having this conversation because things are going to change. Do not be that guy. Do not be that girl. If somebody wants information, provide it. Be their shining light. Guide them down the path. Become the reason they make a decision. Because if someone like me is at the top of the funnel of a decision making and they need some more information, more insight, maybe a little bit more clarity on something to make a decision, you may be able to expedite that timeline exponentially. If someone's waiting until December, but you tell them what they need to hear, hell, they may do it tomorrow. But what I can tell you is this company, that guy has lost business for me and every one of you. Because when you come to me and say, hey, Dan, I need a good solar company, who am I not going to recommend?
That guy.
So not because it's me, but because I'm a consumer and you're a consumer. You guys consume goods and services all the time. But as a sales professional, you need to be aware that you are oftentimes not at the buying cycle. You're in the information gathering stages. You may even be in the preliminary thought processes. We don't know what we're going to do, but we as professionals get to provide the perspective on how it can help them in real estate.
Value. We have to add value.
Yeah. We provide value. We provide insight. Hell, we may even just be able to answer a question that they didn't find the right answer to, or we can help explain it to them in a manner that makes sense to them. I don't know about you, but I'm not the smartest guy. But if someone can break shit down to me, I like that person. I'm a big fan. If you can make complex shit very simple. It was funny to me because as soon as I get up, because Jess is upstairs in her office, I'm downstairs in the sitting area and she can hear me having this conversation. And as soon as I walk him out, she laughs. She goes, "You're going to tell your agents about that on Monday, aren't you?" I'm all, absolutely. This is real life, people. I don't talk about hypothetical situations. I talk about real world examples on how you can be a better and more professional agent. Because after all, are we here to make more money? And here's a great script to put down in your repertoire. I don't care if you're buying today, tomorrow or in 2 years. I'm going to provide you the information you need. And everyone say together, to make a well-informed decision. Because after all, what's your number one job? Provide perspective. And that can come in the form of value, answers, information, guidance, counseling. Real estate is a whole lot more than just helping people sign on the dotted line. Everything we do is to help them live a better life. If that doesn't help charge you up for this Monday and help you get through this week, then I don't know what will. Because you may
Become a
be solving
resource.
somebody's biggest problem. Go ahead, Gio.
I said we have to become a resource
Yeah, you're the source
in
of
all
this.
aspects.
Yeah. To become value, you have to be versatile. Don't be pigeonholed into one thing. When you know a lot of the environment you're in, can you help people navigate it, right? I'm not going to hire someone to be Sherpa for me up Mount Everest if they've never been there. I'm not going to ask someone to guide me through the Saguaro deserts if they've never been there. I'm not going to ask somebody to help me through a real estate transaction when they didn't take the time to learn about it. Most importantly, can't talk to me about it. So, sales professionals, don't give up. We know that people buy and sell eventually. And if you guys have never heard this, you're going to now. The fortune is in the follow-up. Less than 2% of sales happen on the first conversation. That means there's 98% chance that you're going to have to talk to them again and again and again. Hell, it might even be 17 times. But if you are willing to follow up, fortune will find its way into your hands.
And Dan, as you always say, it can just be a Ford call. You don't have to be pushing real estate every time. But some of my follow-up calls last week, one lady who'd already gotten divorced, they were reconciling. She's like, I'm probably going to sell my house soon. And so if I hadn't called her, there was no real reason to call her, right? She only bought a couple of years ago, but now she's ready to sell again already. And I've already sold 3 houses with them. So, you know, that was great. There's another situation where the gentleman's wife had already passed away. And if I hadn't called for more months, I wouldn't have known. So, and then 2 other people are like, I have an Airbnb. Well, do you want another one? And, oh, I have a tenant who's in the hospital and may not get out. I might want to sell that. Until I was like, cool. You know, the follow-up is so important.
Here's a true to life story. I tell you a lot about my life experiences because as a sales professional, I talk to a lot of people and I have a lot of experiences. My truck is an F-250 and it was in the shop. And they told me it would be between 2 and 2.5 weeks before they'd even look at it. Well, in one of my Ford calls, I just called a buddy of mine who I haven't talked to in a couple of years, sold him a couple of houses, and we're just checking in. And we get to talking. And then I said, hey, let's go to lunch. It's been so long. We get to lunch and we're talking. I drive another vehicle he's not expecting because, well, my truck's in the shop. It had been there for 2 days, so I wasn't worried about it. And we start talking. He goes, hey, where's your truck at? And I told him. I was, oh, it's at the shop. They only have one diesel tech. They said it could take 2.5, maybe 3 weeks before they get it looked at. And he goes, okay, no problem. Like, didn't think anything of it. We have a good conversation at lunch. And then we leave, we get hugs. He's talking about getting into real estate. It was a great conversation. The next day, I get a text from him at 9 o'clock in the morning saying, your truck is done. And I'm all, what? He's like, yeah, my dad is the scheduler of service at that dealership. I called him and told him to bring your truck in first. You don't know the community you're connected to. You don't. So call people, reach out to them, provide them value in droves. Anyone ever heard of the book, The Go Giver? And if you haven't, write it down and put it on your reading list or your listening list. The Go Giver, Bob Berg. Bob Berg spoke at one of our events in Keller Williams a couple years ago, and he's a phenomenal speaker. And his book is a phenomenal read. And it talks about people giving in value, like we're giving today, is giving value, giving away a lot of positivity, coming from contributions, kind of a Keller Williams thing. And in there, he talks about the law of left field. And he goes, if you give value in such level, and it without expectation of repayment, meaning you're just giving to give for the sake of giving, you get repaid out of left field. Do you think I was expecting a text the next day that my truck was done? No, absolutely not. I had no expectation of anything. I just gave and gave. I bought lunch. We talked. We gave a big old hug, man. He missed my wedding, but he felt bad about it. So I made him feel bad about it. It was fun. But when we give in expectation of return, it almost feels grimy, doesn't it? But when we give just to give, man, we ourselves get some value from that. And so do the people we give. So make phone calls today, make texts today, get on social media today, go door knock today. If you used to work at a company that has like an open door policy, like I used to be in the car business, so I can drop into any dealership I want and go say hi to people, drop by and give hugs. Remind people you're in their life and that you matter and that they matter and that you provide value in droves. Let me tell you, the number one resource I've ever had was my ability to give a great hug. Because I've gotten so many referrals because people just think of me as their big brother. Make people feel like family. Because we know by NAR statistics that most people find their agent by one, having a previous relationship, either family, friend, or coworker, or two, being referred by that person. So if you're a friend, family, or coworker, or you are being able to be referred by a friend, family, or coworker, you have exponentially increased your opportunity for opportunities. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a pretty awesome plan to me. And I don't know if you charge for hugs. That could be your thing. I don't know. Some people do, but it's a really cheap, easy way of lead generation. Just go give people hugs, face to face, shake hands, get in front of them. Let them know you're there to take care of their needs. Provide perspective and help them create real estate opportunities. And if you're struggling with that, come back tomorrow. Let's work on some board calls. Let's work on some conversations. Because one of the things we're going to really focus in on this week is being able to find those real estate pearls. And what do you mean? What do I mean by a real estate pearl? Mara, what do I mean by that?
Something that you could start talking real estate because of.
It could be as simple as somebody saying, this house is a little too big. Or
like to downsize.
Right. Or, the kids are going off to college and we don't plan on them moving back.
Ready to
I get what you're
downsize.
saying.
Right. A real estate pearl is something that doesn't look like a real estate conversation on the surface, but can easily become one.
The guy mentioned, I asked how his Airbnb was doing, and he's like, it's great. It's booked till August. Some sort of team is renting it all summer. I was like, great. Would you like another one? It's like, yeah, sure. Let's look.
Yeah. Just as simple as that. When you're talking to buyers, they're looking for options, right? They're looking for houses to buy. When you're talking to sellers, they're looking for information to assure what they're doing. They're looking for certainty. If you're looking for investors, they're either looking to add or retract. Oh, no, it's just a rental house. Would you like another one? Oh, no, we're actually getting out of it. Oh, what other ones do you need to sell? There's an agent we coach up in Canada that was doing a listing presentation and turned around and got 15 more pieces of business by asking that question. What other properties can I help you with? People don't know until you open the door for them. Raise your hand if you want to make a lot more money in real estate. I'm going to tell you the secret. You ready for it? You got to be listening. Got to be ready. Talk to more people. I know, it's profound. Got to
It's like
hear
that saying. It's like that saying goes, right? Network equals net worth or something.
100%.
Like that.
Man, they are teaching you some stuff in that Goodyear market. I like it. We talk about that down here. Your network is your net worth. You don't know who you're connected to until you go out there and find them. Just like my situation over this last week, man. I'm always the person giving people those advantages, helping people to the front of the line, taking care of their needs. And out of the blue, my buddy took care of me. And he said, hey, my dad's got you at the front of the line. You're good to go. But then he's like, I'm really thinking about getting into real estate. I'm tired of being in car sales. And this is a kid I hired 9 years ago. And he's number 2 in his dealership. And he's tired. He's making $200,000 a year and he's tired of the work and he wants something different. So just because people are at the upper echelon of where they want to be, people don't know what their life's goals are. Start asking them, start asking questions, right? If you're not talking to people, like Lisa said in the chat, you're acting like a secret agent. You don't need to hide your identity. You should put that shit on your shirt, be a billboard, go out there and tell everyone. If you need to wear a cape, do so, but send me pictures. And if anybody goes and gets a super cape and runs around as a super realtor, I'll blow you up on social media.
I know what I'm doing this weekend.
I'm all about it. Guys can follow me on anything at Big Dan Caldwell, everything at Big Dan Caldwell.
There was a guy at family reunion, Dan. I don't know if you saw him in LA. He had a cape and like a cowboy hat and something else. And of course, I got his card. And now he sent me 3 referral opportunities. So
there you go.
Phoenix. So wear that cape. People will notice.
Wear a cape. Go out there, be funny. I actually talked one of my agents into, wearing a banana and an orange costume and handing out fruit. Guys, I'm excited for you this Monday. I know there's some great things happening. Do you want some
Yep.
more of it? I'll see you tomorrow morning. And this is how we end every call. This is the weird thing. So everyone take your hand, right? Like you're going to high five and then high five the screen.